Well, I've got to start this video by saying, wow, Acura has done a great job on this MDX. Of course, you stay till the end, you'll get to find out the parts that I like the least about the car. But I have to start by saying that the comfort, it is luxurious, it is comfortable, it is a very smooth ride. And of course, it's got the great dimensions. So if you've got a larger family and you need 7 seats, this is probably what you're looking for. So let's take a quick look around and then let's go look on the inside afterwards. This is a 290 horsepower V6. It is very smooth, and combined with its 10-speed automatic, it's just pure smoothness. It's got a great suspension on here when I was driving it, so it's very smooth over bumps and potholes and whatnot. And of course, there's a lot of plastics on the top and so forth, but you'll notice that the engineering is always very straightforward with Honda. And in this case, it should be a good, durable car for a long, long time. So if you're going to stick with the major Japanese brands, like I usually do when I purchase cars, you're going to get something that will be hanging around for quite a while and mostly trouble-free. So the front grille here is very distinctive with a gigantic A for Acura, and you've got, of course, this kind of grid-looking aspect of it, so good aeration. You've got LCD headlights, of course. You've got, it looks like you'd have an air intake in here, but it's actually blocked off. It's just more or less for show. And you've got your fog lights on the very bottom there, and you've got a bit more grille here on the very bottom. So it looks very aggressive, it looks very attractive. I'm not huge on the color white, but I mean, short of that, it's got a very distinctive look. Now, the other thing to note is, depending on your market, by the way, depending on the trim you're going to get some of the features will be slightly different. These are 20-inch wheels. These are alloy wheels specifically. And of course, you'll find things like the mirrors retract automatically when you close the vehicle, and they'll pop back out by themselves. You've got the turn signals here built into them as well, for those of you who like that feature. One of the other really, really nice feature is the panoramic roof here that extends not only what you would expect, which usually is around this size, all the way to the back, all the way back to here. So you're getting some really, really great view of the sky from the interior, not only from the front seat, but from the back seats as well. Now, do keep in mind that there is a third row seat in this particular model, and that's you're going to get less of that since there is part of a roof at the very back here where you can see the little shark fin at the very back. So the back, what you'll find is, again, minimal badging. You've got a big A out here. You've got, the MDX, and in this case, it's an all-wheel drive. If you go for the lower trims, I believe in some areas, in some countries, you might be able to get a front-wheel drive as well of this vehicle. So let's go ahead and open it up. And of course, it does have an automatic tailgate here. And so once you're inside, you're going to notice really nice touches. For example, here you've got, I believe this is aluminum. So there's a little strip here, so it's more durable than the plastic would be. And you'll notice, because we have 3 rows of seats, of course, the cargo space is rather limited when you've got them all up. So this is really limited. Of course, you have to keep in mind that we can certainly go and do a 60-40 on these. And then if that's not enough space, you can also put down the second row, and then you've got more than enough space. This is just a huge, cavernous space here if you've got both of these rows down. Now, what you'll notice underneath all of this as well, this is a little carpet here. So there's a big space here that will keep things like your brushes for winter and whatnot. Again, pretty straightforward. It does give you a power outlet, so a 12-volt power outlet here on the side. So in case you need to plug something in, like a cooler on long trips perhaps, you can just go ahead and plug that in there, put your cooler here, and off you go. And again, to put these up and down is pretty straightforward. All you need to do is just grab onto the handle, pull. They're quite simple, and then you're ready to have kids or extra passengers, and that's really nice if you got a large family or even if you just need a lot of cargo room, this is probably the vehicle to get. So I really do appreciate the fact there is a wiper in the back. Sounds weird, but I know my BZ4 doesn't have one right now, and it's really annoying me. So I really enjoy the tail lights. There's some reflective here, and you'll notice the both chromed exhaust here that really give it a distinctive look, and it still looks very aggressive and really pretty in my opinion. So let's take a quick look, starting from the back this time. I'll do this differently. This just closed. Let me just reopen this. All right, so it opens all the doors. The senses I have the cake. So first off, doors open pretty wide. You'll notice there's a lot of nice trims. There's things like a little shade here that you can add. So if you have too much shade in the back, you live in Arizona perhaps, or somewhere really warm and sunny, you can go and put these little blinds up. And there's a bit of, I don't know if this is faux wood or if this is actual wood. I believe that it's probably hard to tell, but my hands are frozen right now, so also difficult. A lot of space in the door and so forth. Now it's got nice leather. This is the higher end trim, so of course you're expecting higher end comforts. So let's go ahead and sit. So this was set to my setting 5'11", so there's lots of room for the head, for the legs. There's space here. The center console in the back basically provides you with climate control. You have full control over the climate for the passengers in the back, so you can put up the heat, put up the cooling. You've also got power outlets out here, so you both have 12 volt type or the cigarette lighter type, and on the other side what you've got is an AC 115 volt. So there you go, so you can plug things in here, and you have 2 USBs. It is to note these are not USB-Cs, they're plain USB, but again, I don't think it's a big deal. Just that worse, put in a little adapter in there that will convert from USB to USB-C if you really, really need that. So this is, you know, you can control it and direct air wherever you need to. So now let's go take a look at the front. Can you turn this on? So one of the features I wanted to show about the back is its ease to bring these forward. You simply press on the button here and off it goes. This is to gain access to the third row, of course. Now the interior envelopes you with luxury. Everything is, of course, within reach as you'd expect, but there's a lot of buttons. I think Acura, you've overdone this. For example, there's a USB you know, for your phone that is within the center console, but hey, there's some more over here, and there's just a lot of knobs, a lot of things. So in order to control it, it does take a few extra minutes the first time you sit in one of these to really get a feel for what's where. Let's go ahead and start it. And I enjoyed the fact that it has memory for the seats on both the driver and the passenger. Now again, you're going to find this wood pattern here. You got some on the side as well, and you have a bit of aluminum or metal that's sort of at the bottom inside of the doors in the front, which gives it a bit of a distinctive look. There's a lot of use of the piano black again. I don't know why this is a trend. I'm not huge on this reflective black. I find it a bit cheesy personally, but overall though, it looks very luxurious because it is soft and it is, you know, leather everywhere and so forth. Nice big displays. This is also large. Now I find it unfortunate that this is not touch like you would find in most vehicles nowadays, and you've got the equivalent of this little mouse here, or a touchpad I should say, that moves things around. Now you've also got a dynamic aspect here, so this is for the different modes. I find this very large and very strange to have it in the center. You can put it for snow, comfort, normal, or sport. I've left it at comfort so far. I've been very satisfied with that setting. Now, climate control pretty straightforward. I mean, that's up and down and so forth, and you can control that. You've got the fans, the modes, everything you'd expect really from a climate control. Then on the bottom you've got things like the heated seats, both the passenger and the driver. The transmission portion here, so basically the gears, are buttons on the very center. I mean, we've seen this in other vehicles before, namely the Passport it reviewed recently. So one of the other strange things is they've got the volume knob right here in the center, and you can't push it down, get it out of the way, so it's just sticking out right there. It's a little odd. There's a nice cavity here for your phone, but of course there is another section here for your phone with a charging pad right in the center of it, next to the cup holders. So, and they've got this strange rest on top of it. So this entire console to me is a little busy. Of course, I'm willing to live with it. I think it's perfectly okay, but it's just a bit much. So a lot of the electronic assists are located here on the right side of the steering wheel. So you're going to find things like adaptive cruise control, you're going to find lane assist, those types of features. On the left side, you're going to find the heated steering wheel. You will also find the on-off for the radio. And of course, you're going to have some controls for your phone. So if you were to, want to talk to Siri and so forth, simply press there and so forth. What's interesting are these little knobs here. Not only do they go up and down, but they also go side to side. So you'll be able to control things doing that. So you can turn things on and off, whether it be the audio, some of the features, and so forth. So you can control both what's on the odometer, for example, and in some cases, the phone and whatnot. So overall, it does take you a few extra minutes to figure out where all the buttons are. If you're going to open up the hood, for example, that is located on the left side of the vehicle. It's kind of hidden, so it took me a good 2 minutes to figure where that went. But overall, though, I think there's a lot of extra features, and that's why they had to put a lot of extra buttons throughout. It does, I wish it would have just gone with a touchscreen. Of course, it is a little far. I do have long arms on top of it, but I certainly wouldn't mind just having, to press on here. I think it'd be more convenient or more intuitive anyways than using what they've come up with here. And this reminiscence, if I were to compare this goes back to something similar to what Lexus has used in their vehicles in some of their models. So, and I found it unfortunate they had used that, so I don't think this is a great thing to have added. Apart from that, you will find the home link on their mirror. So basically you've got auto dimming mirrors. They also have buttons here which serve as garage door openers, so you can program a few of those. Back in the center console right on top, apart from the lights that are LEDs, of course, you will find a little storage for your glasses, which I really appreciate. You'll find a speaker here. Actually, it's more of a microphone. And so you've got control not only for the sun roof, but also you've got here the assist, and there's a button here that says link, which I have not played with. One of the things that you will benefit from going from, let's say, a Honda to an Acura is the insulation of the car. The road noise is dramatically reduced in this vehicle compared to some of the other vehicles I've tested, and the radio, because it's got higher quality radio in here with an increased number of speakers, you get much better quality, and it really stands out. Of course, when you're also having phone conversations and so forth, it is a lot clearer for those that you are calling, and of course you can hear them better as well. So when you put it in reverse, first thing you'll notice are the different modes. So you can change the look here. There's even a night mode, a day mode, and this mode. And you've got the 360 here. That's pretty good. Well, the MDX's ability to take curves, it's very smooth. I love this vehicle from a driving perspective. It's got very good suspension. The motor, I think, could use some more horsepower, as much as it pains me to say with the amount of horsepower it has to begin with.
it's just a very heavy vehicle, and when you go to accelerate from a standstill, it does create excessive noise. And especially if you're used to electric vehicles, or you're used to something that spontaneously has a lot of power right from the get-go, you're going to find that it's a bit laborious and it feels underpowered under certain scenarios. Once you're on the road, though, and once you're at cruising speed, it doesn't appear to be much of a problem. Now, turning is so, even the steering wheel feels very, very smooth. It feels like freshly oiled gears. It's just a different feeling from the Hondas, which I'm more used to. And compared to the Passport, for example, this is really a step up, both from a noise, or lack of noise, I should say. You don't really hear the road noise much, and this has winter tires on it, so it is quite impressive. And the displays are nice and bright. Let's get down to what I don't like about this vehicle, and that is the fact that there's no touch display on here. So if you press on anything in the center console there, nothing happens. You are forced to rely on a trackpad, which is most like the center console mounted trackpad, which is really laborious to use when you're driving. I mean, if you could just touch on the button, it'd be a lot easier than having to go and glide your finger and push it up. And especially if you're moving slightly with the motion of the road, you're going to end up potentially in a strange area of the screen and not quite press where you want to at times. So that is my number one pet peeve with this vehicle. The rest of it really is how the more I drive it, the more I enjoy it, but the less I like the way they've displayed and laid out all the different buttons and stuff in the center console. I mean, this dynamic what do you call it, mode here back in the center. There's a huge dial. I mean, that takes up a lot of room. I really wish that it was something to do more with the radio to switch channels or something, because that's where I naturally want to reach for volume, and that's clearly not where the volume is. It's way down lower, and it's small, and it just seems like it doesn't feel balanced. Let's put it this way. This is something that you're probably not going to switch very often. You're probably going to set it to normal, or and occasionally there's a snowstorm or something like that. Then you'll switch it for better traction and better control. But that is on very occasional, as opposed to volume, which you're going to put up and down continually. And of course, you're going to want to be able to switch channels, whether they be FM or Sirius XM and so forth. So from the functionality point of view, I think they missed the mark. The rest, temperature control, everything else is very easy to use. The buttons could be a little larger, and I find that if you go here, you get the up and down for the temperature control. That seems to, like, if you're not looking at it, feels like it's a little bit in the way because it protrudes so much compared to some other brands and some other models. But again, that's minor. Now, one of the very interesting things that I've noticed in this vehicle, and I believe that some of the other cars have this as well, is you'll notice there's some colors out on the dashboard. For example, right now I'm seeing blue, and if you were to take a look at the evening pictures of this car, you'll notice that there's blue highlights in the doors and underneath some of the controls here. These actually change depending on the dynamic mode you set this car to. So blue is for comfort, and if I were to change the dial, you've got, for example, snow, and if I leave it to snow, then all of a sudden all the trim is in white. If I were to put it into normal, apparently normal is also white, and if I go into sports mode, then I am in red. So it changes I thought this originally was mood lighting, but no, it's actually based on the mode that it is set to. So I'm going to go back to comfort, and I do like the blue accents, so I'd almost be tempted to leave it on comfort just to see the blue highlights and the ambient light throughout the cabin.
So I'm Bob Pellerin, CTOBOB. I hope you've enjoyed the review of the Acura MDX. And of course, You can reach us at www.ctobob.com and write some comments below. We'd love to hear from you.